Hey guys, it's Kara from iStampin.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I wanted to do a card just using some everyday, just to use an everyday stamp. I know we are in the thick of the holiday season with Halloween coming up here shortly, Thanksgiving and Christmas here before we know it. But I just wanted to do something a little bit different. I felt like I needed to take a break from all of the holiday projects that I've been sharing with you. So I wanted to show you this fun little hello card using the Pretty Kitty stamp set and the Ruffled 3D textured impressions embossing folder. I can't remember, it's like 3D dynamic or something like that. This came out in our annual catalog in June, and I haven't had the chance to use it, so I thought it would be fun to use that today. Also did a little bit of watercoloring, coloring with our watercolor pencils on some watercolor paper. It's a really simple card. If you enjoy coloring, I really think you'll enjoy this project. I had a lot of fun coloring in the images. So why don't we get started? So Pretty Kitty is the stamp set that I'm using today. This is the little image with the cat peeking out of the planner, and then I did the just peeking in to say hello sentiment. Now what you're going to want to do is to get out our watercolor paper, and I've just have a piece right here, and I'm also going to be stamping this using our basic gray Archival ink. And the reason why I selected this color is because I just wanted it to be a little bit softer. Sometimes our black is just so harsh and so stark that I thought using the gray would just give it a softer appearance. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Mini Misty for this, and I'm just going to place my watercolor paper in here. And then I'm just going to place this right about here. I'm going to be die cutting this out using our stitched shaped framelits. I'm going to be using the largest square. So I think I'm just going to do it right about there. And we'll see if this works out good. All right, so I'm just going to ink this up. And the great thing about this tool is if I need to ink it up again, my paper will be in perfect position and not have to guess if I'm stamping it correctly. Now with the watercolor paper, you do want to, press the stamp, let the ink soak into the paper a little bit longer than what you would normally do with Whisper White paper or another color. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it again. You can see here with the little ears, I've got some parts missing. So let's try this again, and this should be good. Okay, that's a lot better. And with the watercolor paper, it does have texture on there, so you may not get a perfect impression. And like I said, that's just going to be because of the texture. So don't be concerned. That will give it a little bit of character. Okay, so with this, I'm just kind of eyeballing it and keeping my fingers crossed that I do this right. On my sample, my sentiment was a little bit lower than what I wanted to be, so let's see how this works. Okay, so we're inking that up in the basic gray Archival ink. And let's say something good, like it's gonna work. Okay. That's a little bit low again, but I'm not worried about it because the stitched square that I'm going to use does fit. Okay, so I'm just doing that twice just to make sure it's good. All right, I like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove the watercolor paper. And let's go ahead and you can either go ahead and die cut it out now, or you can color it. I'll go ahead and die cut it out now. I'm using the stitched shaped framelits like I said, and I'm going to use the largest square, and you'll just want to die cut this out on your big shot. So let me go do that real quick. Okay, so let's pop this out. So that's perfect. All right, now we're going to color this image in, and I'm using our watercolor pencils, and the colors that I chose were Early Espresso for the flower pot. I'm going to use Calypso Coral for one of the flowers, and then for the kitty cat's ears. Let's see, I also used the Rich Razzleberry, the Daffodil Delight, and the an Old Olive. So these colors are for the flowers. And then I'm using Basic Gray to give a little shadowing below the pot, just where it's grounded, and so it doesn't look like the flower pot's just floating in air. The great thing about our watercolor pencils is this is an extremely easy technique, and I'm going to get closer for y'all to see this. So what you'll want to do is, what I like to do is just to very lightly just color just really just around the inside of the image. And so you'll just want to figure out, like, the natural shading. So we're going to say, like, this side is a little bit darker. This is where the shadow will be. And so I'm going to just color really lightly. And with our Aqua Painter, we'll be able to blend this color in and just really give it a fun little watercolor technique. These pencils will make you feel like an artist, because I know I'm not. All right, now I'm going to take Old Olive, and I'm just going to come in here and just color in the leaves. And like I said, with our Aqua Painter, we'll blend all this in. So as this is your first time using watercolor pencils, don't be scared about the way it's looking. Oh, and then also, I can't believe I forgot this, the Basic Gray is what we're going to color in the kitty cat. The whole reason. Can't believe I forgot that. So like I said, just go around the paws. I'm going to make a little bit darker, and just go around the edge, get up the ear on both sides, and then you can come in with the Calypso Coral, and this will just give the inside of the ear just that little pale pink color. We can color in her nose. And then, let's see, let's do these flowers in Calypso Coral. And I'm going to lay down a little bit heavier color in the bottom, and then I'll be able to pull that forward with the Aqua Painter. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one up here. So laying down a little bit more color at the bottom. And these little guys right here with the circles, I'm going to color in with the Daffodil Delight. So this is such a relaxing exercise. If you enjoyed coloring as a child, I really think you'll enjoy this if you've never done it before. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with the Rich Razzleberry. And again, kind of like put in a lot of color right there in the center. These kind of remind me of pansies. Okay, so I think I've got just about everything. And then once I'm done with this, I'll come in and shade the ground. Get this done first. All right, so how we're going to blend it is using our Aqua Painters. This is just a watercolor brush. So if you've seen me do this before, I always tell you that you just unscrew the lid and you fill this barrel up with tap water, and that's what's going to give us the water flow. And I just like to have a paper towel laying around, and I just squeeze the brush until I see some water coming out, and just make sure it's nice and wet. And let's go ahead and work on the flower pot first. And what I like to do is just make little tiny small circles and just blend in that color, and then just pull it out to the middle, and then go around the edges again on this side, and just where you have natural highlight in the middle of the pot. And if you feel like you didn't get enough color, you can always go back and layer, put down more color with the watercolor pencil, and then blend it out again. Okay, so then what I like to do is just like brush off on the paper towel, and then let's work on the little kitty cat. And again, I just make small little circles just to blend in that color, and then kind of pull it into the middle of the image. And I've watched quite a few technique videos on how to do this, so I'm sure there may be something that I can still learn. So I'm not quite sure if I'm doing this perfectly, but you know what? I guess if I'm having fun, I guess that's all that matters, right? But I love these watercolor pencils. And if you've seen some recent posts, the Stampin' Blends on my Facebook, so you can always head on over to Facebook, and I'll put the link down of what my Facebook business page is. But we're bringing back our alcohol markers. They're called Stampin' Blends, and you will be able to start purchasing those November 1st, so I'm really excited about that. And as it gets closer, I'll do some projects showing you. I still have a lot to learn on how to color those in, but I know that a lot of my customers have been asking if we were going to have alcohol markers again, and so yep, we are. Stampin' Blends, and they're really pretty. Okay, so you see there I just blended in the little leaves, and there's really not much to do with these little yellow balls other than just kind of just make sure the colors just softened. So there we go. All right, then the last thing we're going to do is these little flowers right here, and I'm just going to blend out so the lighter color towards the edge. Center of the flower is going to be a little bit darker, and then this last one here. And that's it, guys. I mean, how simple was that? Really, really, really easy. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in right around the flower pot and just lay just a little bit of basic gray. And this, like I said, this will just kind of give it the illusion that it's like on the ground. Just like I said, it just grounds it. What do you think? How cute is that? I love it. It's so much fun. I love coloring. And it just takes it doesn't take this very long to dry. Okay, so let's put this off to the side. The next thing you are going to do is to grab a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock. And as a reminder, I meant to say this a little bit earlier, but if you head on over to my blog, istampin.com, look for today's blog post, you'll be able to download the project instruction sheet where it has all of the supplies listed as well as all the directions. So if you happen to miss something that I said, go over there, you can download the PDF and you will have everything that you will need to know to recreate this project. Okay. So we have, like I said, a piece of a thick Whisper White cardstock. It measures 5.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score this at 4 1/4. Okay, so you'll just want to get out your Simply Scored scoring tool, 4 1/4. Grab your bone folder. Burnish on that score line. The next thing you're going to do is to get out a piece of powder pink cardstock. This is one of our new in colors for the 2017-2019 years. This measures 4 by 5 1/4, and you are going to take the Ruffled 3D Dynamic Texture Impressions Embossing folder. That's a mouthful. And you are just going to lay it in like so, and you will run this through the Big Shot. Now, because this embossing folder is so thick, all you will want to do is to use your base platform, then put this on top of the platform, and then one acrylic plate on the top. You don't need the acrylic plate on the bottom. If you do that, it will be too thick and you won't be able to run it through your machine. So just remember, you don't need the bottom one, just the top one. All right, so let me go emboss this real quick. Okay, and so you can see that fun texture. Isn't that neat? Now, at the same time, go ahead and die cut a piece of basic gray cardstock. I just got a 3.5 by 3.5 square, and I used the layering squares. This is the scallop one. This is the little 3-inch scallop. I think it's the second to the largest. So it measures 3 inches, and that's what we're going to layer our little watercolor piece on. Now, because this is watercolor paper and I wanted to make sure it has a really good base, I have decided to use our foam adhesive strips to put this down. I really like this adhesive. I'm using it a lot more than dimensionals recently, and the reason being is because it gives it a really nice sturdy base. So now I can just remove the backing strip and all these pieces. And while I'm doing this, I want to remind you of my 12 Weeks of Christmas newsletter campaign that I've been doing. This Wednesday will be week 4. So each Wednesday for the next, for 12 weeks, I'm sending out exclusive projects, and the only way to get them is to sign up for my newsletter. So if you head on over to iStampin at the very top, it will show you where you can sign up, and if you do that before this Wednesday, you'll get week 4, and then this all the rest of the weeks. Okay, so I'm just going to center that onto the scallop like so. Isn't that adorable? And this is going to go right in the center of our embossed piece. And because this is embossed, I want to use my tear-in tape adhesive. This will just ensure that it's nice and secure on that embossed panel. Okay, and then I'll just use my scissors to get the backing strip off. Okay, and then let's center this onto the embossed panel, making sure it's even. Okay, that looks good. All right, and then I'm just going to use snail to adhere this to the card base. Isn't that precious? Now you can stop there if you want. I decided that I wanted to put a little bow, and we don't have powder pink baker's twine, but we do have Flirty Flamingo. And the great thing about our colors is that you can use, and I've cut 14 inches right here, so I'm going to double it up and then cut it in half, so that I'll be able to create a double bow. But what I was saying is the great thing about our colors is that even if it's not an exact match, it complements it so well. And really, I don't think you would ever know that it wasn't a true match of the powder pink. And hopefully I can get a bow here. There we go. Oops. Okay, so I'm just going to pull the tails, and when I do a double bow, you just want to make sure you pull both at the same time. There we go. Oops. Like that. And I'm just going to use some glue dots. I'm just going to put it right here in the bottom left corner, and then I just mush that bow right there on those glue dots, and then I'll just cut the tails. And now our card is done. So you can eliminate the bow if you want to. I just think it's kind of fun just to have that little bit of extra pink. But there's the project. So let me bring in my first one. So you can see that every time you color, it's going to be a little bit different. So each of them will be completely exclusive. But I hope you liked today's project that was using Pretty Kitty stamp set and our watercolor pencils. But if you have any questions over anything that I used today, please make sure to comment below. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. And like I said, you can head on over to istampin.com, where you will see the blog post so that you can download the PDF, and make sure to sign up for my exclusive newsletter, okay? Thanks guys, have a great day. Bye.